Hello there. So, have you seen my recent talks about overlays and the escape room analogy I'm using to talk about the coping mechanisms that I often reference in these readings? If not, and you feel called when I mention it, please feel free to take a look, to place this pick a card or pick a reflection into a bigger context. Okay, so this pick a reflection is going to look at a limitation or a escape room or an overlay that you're currently living in. And so what that means for those who haven't watched those videos is, where are you limiting yourself with a coping mechanism that's in place that you're not aware of, that you can't see completely, that you haven't been able to alleviate? You're going to use your own intuition to decide if one or more of these has information for you to reflect on. Welcome to the reading. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing that good work. And let's get right into it. This is going to be pick one. This is the bottle of myrrh essential oil. Pick two, which is basically just like a water bottle holder for hiking. Pick three is my violet flame sculpture. All right, so pause if you need more time. We're going to get right into it with pick one. Okay, pick one. What is the limitation that you are living within right now? Okay. The limitation that you're living in right now has to do with maybe looking at life through a very practical, action-oriented 3D lens. You know, something that says, I'm alone here, I'm taking responsibility for my own decisions and making things happen in my life, which is wonderful. But this is saying, like, there is a bigger picture view that your highest version of self, who informs you through intuition, has in mind, or in view, rather. And you may not be trusting that, or looking to that, or hearing that. And it may be along the lines of how you express yourself. Allow your true self to shine. So this higher version of yourself wants to express in your life as well, wants to be taking part in how you navigate. And maybe there's even like a bigger dream that you haven't allowed for yourself yet, because you're really looking through the lens of what's been done around you, what those before you have said and done. You're limited by the physical, the view of what you're living within. Okay? Next, we want to look at what are the stories and voices that might be supporting this. Like, this is the way it's always been done. You don't recognize this because it's like part of the operating system that was put in you as a child through the environment that you were brought up in. So whatever your caretakers were doing kind of like imprinted you with this way of navigating Earth and life. And perhaps it's this feeling of like, well, I know there's more to life, I just don't know about it. I just don't know how to get there. I don't know, like maybe there's a reluctance to experiment. Maybe you are aware that there's more that you don't know, but you're staying on this sort of like path that is known, that you can see, and that you may be getting some results from. But maybe you know there is more to it, and you're just not able to like step out into that place because there's a fixation on knowing. and security and practiced ways. Okay, let's look at what else. Okay, this is all over the place. Let's see. These cards are supposed to signify more of the story that you're telling yourself. Kind of the whole room is supposed to reveal itself to me, so I'm just kind of letting it do that for a moment, letting these pieces of information impress upon me what this limitation is for you. Yeah. Maybe like there's like more that you would indulge in life, but you haven't allowed yourself to see it. You haven't allowed yourself to want it, really. You're just kind of living in what expectations have been put upon you, or what expectations you've adopted for yourself based on what you've seen others do. And there may be a need to sort of step out of the box and start doing things a little bit different, even on your own. Taking yourself out on a date night, because we have these ones here, and it's like a date is like a new experience usually. And if you put yourself into a new experience, you may be able to see things from a different angle. Or if you're having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, you may be able to see things from a different perspective, which could help. Let me see what else. Okay, I said the advice, the possibility. Okay, so these next cards are going to be about the possibility that exists for you when you get out of this limitation. Okay. Even though these are meant to be positive possibilities, I know this one's hard to see because of the glare and the writing, but it says loss of possessions and job or money. So there may be like this higher version of yourself actually has something else in mind for your career. And so allowing yourself to see and express through this higher version of yourself with this bigger picture view would cause you to maybe want to downsize your belongings, maybe want to change your field of study or career. But ultimately, it's because it would be more in line with who you really are. There's great friends and a circle of friends you can be intimate with, meaning let them see you, the real you. As you let yourself be seen to yourself, you'll also allow yourself to be seen to others, and this will attract people who can relate to you. Yeah, look, a lot about good friends. People that you would even consider family in time. So there's some sort of unique thing about you that you haven't yet allowed yourself to express fully. And it's sort of like really covered up by a few different things. And you may know that. And you may just have not felt comfortable enough to unpack or allow it, you know? But there's something really great here on offer, right? When it says that the possibility is that you would, come into a place with great friendship, even though you might change your career and downsize your belongings. You'd be more happy because you'd be more in line with who you really are. Now let's look at this is the possibility if I'm transparent. Okay. Being debt-free, being transparent, what you see is what you get. You know, not having to worry about what people think, just having to be who you are. Just literally be present and be who you are and not worry about, like, not stepping on toes or keeping up with the Joneses kind of stuff. You may be inspired to make music. You know, some sort of creative endeavor could come alive. And also you'll have access to all the resolutions to any problems that you may be facing today. Things that looked like problems from this new view, this bigger picture view, are already resolved. This is the advice. Choose love over fear. Like with each step, if you're not in that biggest picture view yet, how can you get there? You can take each step with love in mind. What would love do? What would love do? Let that part of you lead for a while. See where that takes you, you know? And then bigger picture view. Inner Earth, you'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. Yeah. So this is a big shift for you. I must say, and you know, really understand and validate the fear that can come up when we look at an upheaval of our foundation like this. Because if you're changing jobs and the expression of who you are, these are major things, and these can cause fears to come up because of safety and stability and, you know, needing that foundation in order to feel like we are supported in the world. But what this is saying is that, you know, yes, that's true, but there is like this means of transportation to this higher version of yourself, which is going to take some courage, right? It's going to take that leap into the unknown place where you have to trust that this version of yourself is there and can see the biggest picture view and is in full trust of the divine order and your ability to line up with what's meant for you and what is more true to who you are. So that debts and problems will no longer be at the forefront of what you deal with on a day-to-day basis. It'll be more an expression, your life will be more an expression of who you are rather than an image of you trying to survive in the world. Beautiful. I kind of have this feeling like, you know, if humanity is like a big puzzle, we're each like a puzzle piece and no one is more or less important than another puzzle piece. And it's best if we are in our true authenticity so that our puzzle piece knows where to fit. You know, and it sounds like this is offering you the glimpse that you will have people around you that you fit with, you know, and that they won't find you as easily if you're hidden in this obscurity of trying to do all these other things for these other reasons that may have been adopted through the foundational template laid when you were born into this earth. So it was like a rite of passage to navigate using that set of rules. And now it's time to kind of make each decision with love in mind. What would love do? And so there may be parts of you that are talking about fearful outcomes and trying to talk you out of making decisions to do some of these things for yourself. And those parts of you need your love, you know. It's like those parts can be present with you. Maybe they can be soothed, talked to, reassured, loved. You can love any feelings that arise. Love yourself through any feelings that arise. It's just like, be really gentle with yourself, because I do think you're a gentle soul, a creative soul that is really in tune with music, perhaps even making music. So make it your song. Make the transition your song. And maybe you can utilize music to help you through the process, or to help you express creatively, and kind of let who you really are into the picture through whatever music you make, and also to help you elicit any emotion that needs to be amplified in order for you to process it through and be present with it. Okay, so you are here out of part of a divine plan, and it is something that's been orchestrated for you. And so even though these fears of survival will come up, it's just based on the so-called evidence that you have collected thus far in your life. It's not the biggest picture view. It's not the truth of who you are, and it's not the truth of what's possible here on Earth. And I think you kind of know that already. I think maybe you just didn't know how to get through the door to that bigger place of possibilities. So this is saying love is the way through the door. And also this courage and trust is a way through the door. Okay? Beautiful. You chose the myrrh, so I guess I was thinking, should I talk about the myrrh for a little while or not? You may want to look up the mythology of the myrrh and see if it has any relevance to you and your limitation. But otherwise, I think that this is a good overview, a general look at what kind of limitation you might be working through at this time. And I am holding space for you to find your way out of this experience and on to the next adventure in your life. Okay, pick one. That completes your reading. Perhaps I'll see you in a future one. Okay. Pick two. You chose my little water holder for hiking. It just kind of clips onto your bag. So maybe staying hydrated in all parts of your day is important for you at this time, and also keeping track of your things like keys and things. I actually do keep my keys on one of these, and I clip it to my bag in between uses, and I have to like make it a priority, right? Because I can't just set my keys down somewhere and then like assume that I'll find them later. I never do that, because I always have a certain place to put my keys or anything in that matter. Like, I know where I keep things because that's how I've adapted to function in a world where I'm going to be present. And it's like, actually I had to find something yesterday, and I was able to ask the universe. I said, I looked in a couple places and it wasn't there, and I knew I had it. I had packed it away during the summer, and it was a winter item that I was going to assist the plow guy with getting unstuck. There was these like tire things that I thought might be helpful to him, but they weren't in my car, because I had packed them away during the summer. And I said to the universe, where are those things? Where did I put those? And sure enough, I had the thought to look in a certain cabinet, and there they were. So when you're in presence, you can let go of the risk of losing things. I guess I have just made that a habit to put my keys always in the same place. I don't know why we're talking about all of this, but perhaps it's going to be relevant. Let's see, what is the limitation that you are in? Immerse yourself in artistic and creative expression. So, maybe you have a limitation on what you're allowing yourself to do creatively. Maybe you don't feel like it's worthwhile to let your mind go in imagination. You're holding on to some structure. As you surrender the need to control, your relaxed energy rapidly attracts your desires. So you're sort of trying to achieve things by controlling your environment. You're not allowing for the possibility that your desires would be met in a way other than what you think would have to happen for them to be met. Like, there are actually, like, miracles that happen, you know? And that's because we line up with them. So we don't line up with them when we are in full doubt and kind of that lower density energy, because we will miss the opportunity to utilize the miracle or notice it when we're in those kind of places where we're too busy trying to control things. And sometimes we'll even mess up our miracle by trying to take control of a situation where the divine had already worked it out. Okay, so this may have to do with the strict structure that you put around ways to heal. Like, if you have in your mind that in order to heal a certain ailment, the doctor has to prescribe you a certain medication and that cures you. Like, if you have that in your mind, then, you know, that might be a limitation, because what if that medication really doesn't heal you? What if that's not the thing? What if it's your faith that puts you in line with the healing? So whatever you have been experiencing around self-care and healing, whether it be emotional or physical, could be part of the limitation, and it could be because of the medical industry. Like, I'm not saying that doctors and nurses aren't wonderful and helpful and sometimes required for some people, but what I am saying is, like, have you heard of the placebo effect? There's scientific evidence to show that what we think and believe about the process matters. And if we think and believe it's not going to work, then it's not going to work. You know, like, there is, we do have much more control over our reality than we've been led to believe. And let's see, we've got near-death experience. Perhaps you did have a near-death experience. You know, maybe you did get a glimpse of what was on the other side, or maybe you fear that. There's two scenarios here that are coming to mind, and one is that if you had a near-death experience and you were shown something while you were there on the other side, and maybe it put you in fear, and maybe you've been trying to control certain situations to avoid that ever since, that could be one scenario where you kind of got fear mixed in with the message that was trying to be shown to you. So now the message is distorted. Another thing is that maybe you are fearing death, and you're fearing that your health will lead to death, and that this is something that maybe even statistically is shown to be a high risk for you. And because of that, you are feeling like, you know, that's it. Like, that maybe you're going to be degrading from this point on. Yeah, because oh my gosh, yes, I was at the water spring the other day. Okay, and there was a man, and I had a conversation with him. And basically, we were talking and kind of relating through, like, there was synchronicities when he said things to me. I had a story to tell about it, and then he shared some things about his life. And one of the things he shared was that it was too late for his wife, that they had quit smoking, but it was too late for her that she had contracted emphysema. And so basically, by saying that, they had both decided that it's too late for her, that she will die because she has this condition. Now, that may be true, but I know something different, right? And there I was in this conversation, and I didn't go there. And as I was leaving and pulling away, I thought to myself, should I have told him that it's possible to heal? Should I have told him? I've told so many other people, and I often get rejected when I share it. A lot of times what I've found is people don't want to hear it because they are comfortable in the role of victim. And people get comfortable in the role of victim when they've been victimized as a child and it hasn't been validated and they haven't been able to move through it and love themselves through the situation. So then victim is a loop and an energy, an escape room that they don't get out of. So there could be this like victimization kind of feeling that could be clouding your view, where you kind of feel comfort in the fact that you have been victimized by a health condition. And one thing that can happen is, like, say if you're a child and you don't get a lot of attention from your parents, but when you get hurt, then all of a sudden they're paying attention. So now there's a subconscious belief or loop within your energy body that says the only time I'm going to get the attention I need is when I'm hurt. So there's a part of you that doesn't want to get better because the only time you get the attention you need is when you're hurt. You know, so I'm not calling you out and saying that's specifically what's happening with you. I'm saying this is a possibility for some of you. And in that case, I will invite you to understand that, first of all, just having the limited amount of interaction and intimacy with other people doesn't have to be the way that it will always be. You can actually heal yourself, get better, and then connect with people on a different level, right? Not that level of lack, not that level of not enough. There are people who will care about you even when you're well. And it's just a perpetuation of the energy that was downloaded into you as a child that is creating that reality for you, because we do have a lot of control over what reality we are experiencing, and it is based on our beliefs, the energy that we're perpetuating and putting our feeling into. And when you have that stuck in you from childhood, that means that a part of you needs love and attention. It's completely valid to need love and attention. But now that you're an adult, what you can do is give yourself the love and attention. So all those hurt parts of you, instead of feeling the woe is me, instead of trying to control the circumstances, this is an invitation to actually like be with and present and like talk to and listen to how those parts of you feel and love yourself through it. Like, give yourself the love as if you're the parent of those emotions, and those emotions are little baby children. Okay, so yes, this might take an imaginative approach. It could take a feeling approach. It could take a word approach. You could write it down. Like, whatever works for you can be the way that you utilize this. But like, there is an invitation here to kind of take more responsibility for the emotional body throughout your process of healing, and also knowing that it is possible to heal fully if that is your path. If that's what your soul has intended here, then it's completely possible. If your soul is intending for you to pass on through this illness, then that will happen too. However, either way, won't it be nice to be free of the burden of emotional pain? So either way, unburdening yourself with trying to control the situation and resisting any emotion that has been repeating all this time, you know, can only help you. Okay. Yeah, this next card literally is about rewriting the story and amplifying what you put your focus on. Okay? If you're putting your focus on, you know, I'm going to die from this, that is where you're putting your focus, so that is how it's going to turn out for you. Perhaps it's even up to you whether you put your focus there or you put your focus on wellness and victory over this situation. Whichever you want to achieve is where you should put your focus. So when I left that guy at the water spring, you know, I wondered if I should have mentioned it. I didn't mention it based on my past experiences. And what I had decided is, you know what, I should have just mentioned it. It couldn't hurt. If it was something that was, for him, he would have done further research. And if it wasn't something for him, he would have just said that was some quack lady at the water spring. I mean, no harm done to me either way. And I could have shared a piece of knowledge that could have freed him or his wife. So another thing, though, is that they don't need me to tell them. That option is there. I could have been an instrument of sharing that information, but God can also arrange another way. And if there's silence, stillness, meditation, that's when we hear our answers. So whatever you're hearing when you're meditating, it could be an emotion that comes up that has been long since ignored and needs your presence. And maybe there are thoughts that you're just going to have to observe. And then after a while of practicing, you can actually quiet yourself enough where you can be still and get answers and get insights that are divinely guided. You just know when you get them, right? They're like genius ideas, and they're just like, oh, like that's so simple. Oh, I see how it could be so easy that way. I didn't see it that way because I was trying to control the situation this way. I thought I would do it this way to kind of make things easy, but no, I can see how this other way is actually the easy way. So it's like encouraging you to allow more time with that where you can. And meditation for you could be knitting or drawing or painting. And these are things that you might have not allowed for yourself because you feel maybe they're a waste of time or that your skill level isn't up to par. But like creation is not something that can really be judged by another. I mean, you can do it yourself, you can judge it yourself, sure, but really what you're judging is for your own preference, not for quality of work, because really there's such a benefit to it. What you're creating is not meant really for anyone else to critique. That's not the purpose of it, so you don't have to worry about being critiqued or critiquing yourself while you are in the act of creation. Okay, it's just accessing that part of you, which is chaos. It's new. It's allowing for new possibilities. It's where you're going to get inspired ideas. It's where you're going to get free of those control issues and things like that. Okay, let's see what else. Possibilities. Oh, interesting that it says failure to communicate. When I was talking about I failed to communicate something. Okay, so let me just feel this out and see why failure to communicate's there. What if you just stopped telling the story that you're telling and instead just lived in the moment, right? So if you only have a limited amount of time left, be in the moment, be there present with each moment and each experience that you have. And this is saying that the possibilities that you'd be having joy and company and friendship and celebrating how far you've come, celebrating the experiences you've had and the presence that you've achieved. You don't have to dictate, you don't have to plan it all out for yourself. You can literally just step into that creation mode where things are prompted to you or for you in the moment. It's not really planned out when we step into a painting necessarily. Some people plan out their paintings, but I don't. I just go with what impetus propels me forward in the moment. This is saying there's a possibility for realizations, and that when you allow yourself to step into this more gentle place in caring for yourself in this way, not in a defensive, protective, proactive kind of controlling way, but more of a gentle, trusting nature of like indulging in creation and really loving self. This is going to put you in the place where you'll have these realizations, like when you're in that meditation. That's the possibility for you. And the possibility is also that you would step into a place of family harmony, right? So your energy will change. When you shift, your energy automatically shifts. So people will interact with you on a different basis. You know, no longer will they feel the resistance or the manipulation tactics that may have been utilized covertly in order to get them to do what you needed or expected, right? There's no like let's take that example of being ill in order to get care. When you change your energy to self-care, it doesn't mean that you won't, necessarily need care for whatever you're being cared for externally. But if you add in that, focus on self-care, that shifts your energy so that, family members can come close again without feeling that pressure to feel empathy or sympathy for you. We can step it up and kind of relate on a higher manner of like compassion and joy and sharing and celebrating together for the time that you do have together. And a possibility that comes out of this is the gift of deep and restful sleep every night. No longer staying up worrying about who's going to do what or what's going to happen or how so-and-so feels about what you said or how they feel about you or, just peace. Thoughts create your reality is the advice. So be mindful of what you're thinking. And when you are trying to control something, maybe dig a little bit deeper into why. What's so important about that? What would be so bad about if that didn't happen that way? So you can kind of get to know yourself and your own motives, so you can kind of put yourself at ease and, rest easier in the whole process, because the results you're getting are a direct reflection of the energy you're putting into the situation. So the worry, the fear, and the feeling of lack, like I'm not getting enough care, is literally just an echo, a perpetuation of an earlier time that's being imprinted on the field around you. So then the people around you fall in line. So maybe like if, say you were in a hospital, you'd get the nurse that is really like stressed out and doesn't have any patients left. That's how it's going to manifest for you if you stay in the energy of like expecting it to be that way. So whatever you can do to kind of soothe and understand yourself, so understand why you're thinking that. Maybe you can go back to that very first memory when a parent wasn't there for you when you needed it, or maybe there's no particular memory, maybe it's just a feeling, but whatever it is, work with yourself, get to know yourself, and ask that part of yourself to get on board with rest and trust and knowing that this is going to go in your favor to the highest good of all. We have breath of the cosmos, my will to thy will, micromanaging the universe. So what your soul is learning here is about surrender. And it's been hard for you to surrender. Okay, maybe you feel more comfortable in structure, you feel more comfortable knowing what's going to happen. So in those cases, even like that can be so strong, the want to know what's going to happen and to be predictable, that you would stay in a dysfunctional pattern just so that you'd be able to count on that repetition and that zone of so-called comfort in the discomfort. So, this is inviting you to really surrender. Interesting, that was a piece of ice giving way on outside of my house, and I'm sliding down the door. But this is an invitation to, yeah, really surrender and give way, just like that ice did. Just kind of like let yourself fall into the space of not knowing and trusting and being there to care for whatever you feel in response to that. And letting yourself indulge in creative endeavors, and then, watch how things change for yourself. Wow, really beautiful. So I wish you, may you be healthy and prosper and fall in love with yourself and life more and more each day as you find your way out of any limitation that you've been experiencing on these matters. Thank you for participating. Remember, it's just information to reflect on. I'm going to end your reading there. I picked 3. You chose the Violet Flame Sculpture. What is it that is your limitation at this time? You're not able to see the consequences of what you're doing or where what you're doing leads you. Okay. And maybe you're not able to ask for what you want. You're kind of going along with what others... Okay, let the universe and other people know what you need. So even the universe wants to know. Even the universe wants to know, because the universe is getting mixed signals from you. So the limitation is that you're kind of easily swayed in one direction or another. Like maybe like in high school, your friends were all like playing baseball, but you wanted to play basketball, but they didn't want to play basketball, so you ended up playing baseball with them. And maybe you just have a habit of kind of going with the flow to the degree that like you could easily be interested in whatever, but you could also like easily go with the crowd on the same thing. Maybe you have a dual priority, which is that, yes, you're willing to recognize what's important to you, but more importantly to you is fitting in, is having the camaraderie and the friendships and the people around you. So this has caused for you this kind of mixed signal going to the universe, where the universe doesn't know exactly what it is you want for sure. Like, do you want to do what you want, or do you want to do what you've kind of shown that you want? Like which direction are we going here? So you kind of have to get in touch with what you want, and then you have to kind of ask it of the universe, and also let the people around you know. Like I want to spend time with you, but I don't really want to play baseball. So maybe we could get together for pizza after our sports things and, spend time together. You know what I mean? Like, if you never mention it to your friends that you're not even into baseball and you'd rather play basketball, that's kind of a violation of the friendship, because you've not let them know who you really are, and you're not even given them a chance to meet your needs if they wanted to. Okay, so let's see what else. Some of the things that could be supporting this limitation is control issues. Yep, so you might be controlling things in order to, like, just make it easy. You don't want to kind of go against the grain. And also, maybe there have been times where you did express, that you liked something different, and that caused an ending. And maybe there's some unprocessed grief where you're like, instead of processing that grief of the loss of an incompatibility arising, you're saying like, well, I'm just going to be easier then. I'm just going to reprioritize and make sure that I can just go along and go with the flow and kind of not ruffle any feathers. And it's like, okay, well, there is actually an ending that did happen, that did hurt. And if you process through that, if you are the one who loves yourself through the ending and the grief that has happened due to incompatibility, then you're the one who can handle it if it ever happens again. And if friends fall away because, you find incompatibilities, it's the self-loving thing to do to allow that to happen. We can love people from a distance. We don't have to make enemies of the people that leave our lives. And we also need to let people go in and out of our lives, because people don't respond well to being controlled or being treated as possessions. People aren't things that we collect or own, or they don't owe us anything. Ideally, to be in a fair relating state, we would be flexible in that we would be not attached to the outcome, and that we wouldn't have expectations of people. We would just enjoy the experiences we have with them. And where we weren't enjoying the experiences, that we would give space. And that would be because the self-loving thing to do would be to do so. So what you don't see is that these kind of ways of operating are going to lead you into meeting people like you that are trying to control situations, that are putting on a mask, that aren't telling you who they really are, that are pretending to go along with what you like just so you do what they want. And this is not a good way to relate. This is something that can be very hurtful. So you're actually attracting more reasons to feel this grief, because this grief needs to be felt. And because this grief is in your energy body and the basis of why you're operating in this way, more reasons to feel grief will be attracted by this dynamic. Okay? So it's really an invitation to find out who you are, know your strengths, your weaknesses, and what's important to you. And then operating on the basis of that, not what you need from other people. Go to relationships where you are there to give, not get. Then you're going to line up with people who are compatible with you. Okay. Call them, it says. Chemistry, come over. All right. So maybe there is someone that you have been wanting to relate to on a more intimate level, and you haven't, because you have these control issues. You want to know how it's going to work out. You don't want to risk having it end. You don't know the right mask to wear to entice them. But this is saying like this, the picture of this is showing like, okay, well, that's going to be a problem. You are going to get hurt, and it isn't going to go well, because you're not going to be who you really are if you go to them in this state. So it's saying like, ask for what you want, meaning like literally find out what you want from this situation with this person and ask for that, instead of saying, oh, I just wanted to know if I don't know, you needed a ride to the store, when really you want to know if this person is compatible for you for a relationship. Call them and say that. Hey, I was wondering if you wanted to spend some time together to see if like we're compatible, because I was feeling interested. Why not say that? It's honest, it's true, it's what you want, and it's not doing that game, that dance. Like, step out of the box of what everyone else is doing and be true to you. And then your trajectory will lead you into a place where there's more people like you. There's more people being honest. There's more people respecting who they are and not putting on a mask and not doing a dance of pleasing others to get what they need from them. It's a much more pure, lovely way to relate. Okay, the potential. Reliable, hardworking, right? So you're unreliable in this old way in this limitation way of relating, because you could wishy-washy. You could change your mind. You could go the other way. Someone could say, oh, that person, why are you interested in them? And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm not interested in them. Like, you're wishy-washy when you care about the values that are not your own, more than your own. Okay. The possibility is that you would finish up, culmination, you'd establish this new way of being, and it's a much stronger foundation for yourself. Vacation, you could take a rest from trying to jump through all these hoops and be all the things to all the people that you're not. Let incompatible people fall away. Just let it happen. Let the masks fall. Let yourself go forward in a way that is less contrived. What are the possibilities? The perfect job finds me. So there may even be something where you'd be happier in a different job. As I celebrate and support the financial success of others, I open my life to even more good. Right, so you're going to be around people who are succeeding, and you're going to be happy for them and celebrate them. You're not going to go meet a group of people and find them successful and lie to them about what job you have so that they don't misjudge you or they don't think lesser of you. Maybe you're unemployed and you say, oh yeah, I feel really inspired by what they're doing. Maybe I should look into that field. Instead of kind of pretending that you're someone that you're not, or lying about the job you have or the income you have or your aspirations. Just kind of just being who you really are. And if that's hard, then take that as a lesson. It's like, oh, well, that was a hard thing to do for me, so I had to learn how to do that. What goes into that? What are the ingredients? Well, self-confidence. How do you get self-confidence? You love yourself. You unconditionally, unabashedly, no strings attached, have love for all parts of yourself. All mistakes you've made are forgiven. All fumbles that you make, all places where you don't know the answer, all okay, all loved by you. Everything changes when you love yourself. Everything changes when you make it the most important thing to respect and love yourself through whatever you are facing. So the advice card says, accept struggles as lessons. Because that's all it really is. It's like, you don't want to kind of go into this situation and have me talking about this and kind of feel ashamed of it, or like you've done something wrong. Because that's not what this is at all. Like, whatever you're going to be doing after this is going to be assisted with the wisdom you've gained from this situation. Lots and lots of people adopt this kind of coping mechanism to navigate through life. And what you do with it is up to you, is your unique thing. So you, as a soul, likely wanted to experience what this kind of dynamic was like. And now from within it, you take what you could learn from it, like, why does it serve you? Why does it not serve you? How does it limit you? How does it make you feel? Take all these things into consideration. And those things that you've learned, as you leave that situation, as you break free and allow this other part of life where you can actually stand in your own truth, knowing those things are going to be very valuable. First of all, you'll be able to spot it very easily. When you heal something in yourself, you can see it in someone else very easily. And it doesn't mean you'll necessarily call them out, but you'll know if somebody's coming to you trying to schmooze up and not being their true self. You'll feel it very easily in their energy because you have healed that, and that spot in you doesn't get fulfilled by that anymore. And the bigger picture view called Soul Gifts and Training. It's time to step up. Exactly. As you are stepping out of this way of being, you've learned some very valuable things that are going to help you towards your calling, what you're actually called to do. It's like that was a training ground. Now you take what you've learned from that situation, knowing when people are being their true selves, knowing when they're not, knowing reasons why that could be. Maybe you start a business that is based on the enticement of people out of those kind of situations and offering them a solace, a place where they can find comfort in who they are. Like, what was the transitional moment or the transitional tool that you used to get out? You know what I mean? Like, whatever this perpetuates you towards is because that was all part of the plan. So it's saying, like, yes, if you're feeling pushed, if you're feeling really uncomfortable in how things are, it's because, like, it's time for you to take a stand. And when you take that stand, you will be able to have some foresight. You will be gaining clarity, and you will be going towards your ultimate soul goal, which right now might feel really overwhelming and confusing because you're in a state of, like, confusion, because you haven't decided yet, and that's okay too, right? You're starting from not knowing, not living for you, living for maybe some sort of approval or acceptance or success, and going to a place where you're going to be living for your soul calling and living for the evolution of your soul and what you came here to accomplish on a bigger level, right? Not just for yourself, but even for humanity. Your contribution to humanity stems from this experience. So you needed to have this experience because a lot of people have this experience. So you become more of an asset to people as an example of someone who got out of that dynamic. Even if you don't tell them exactly how you did it, just the energetic presence of it having been done, existing, is a help to humanity. Okay. Well, pick 3, that was very interesting. Remember, it's just information to reflect on. I appreciate you doing the good work, and thank you for participating in this pick a reflection. That completes your reading.